Well, we enter another day of surprises. The White House, the President, Dan Scavino, even Fox News releasing comms to the masses, letting us know how all of this is going behind the scenes. Drops are simply amazing. Add to this how our president deals with the media, the burning down of senators by Kash Patel, and the treason caught on tape with O'Keefe in the White House. Boy, he's going to expose somebody who is very dangerous, who's there around the president. Well, we are in the storm. It's great to be in the battle together. You can find us on Rumble, our main channel. If you're hitting that follow button, we're at 511,000 followers. We thank you for that. And we're slowly growing there. Also, we thank you for hitting that like button. It helps us get in the top 3 on the leaderboard for Rumble. And you guys have helped us out with that. And we thank you for your prayers and more in that area. Thank you also for those grabbing the shirts, the 200 and hats celebrating the 250 years. Order now in time for Independence Day. We also have the women 3/4 sleeve V-necks. They're finally here. Also, for a limited time, spend $100 or more and you get a free beach tote. Use code BEACH at shop.nweknow.com or nweknow.com. And you can see that we've got a lot more new material, new colors, and what have you to choose from. It's really cool.
So voters who are confused about the changing maps, the changing dates, and to African Americans concerned that this is going to draw black members of Congress off the map, what do you say?
Well, I think it's been a wonderful process. They've been the Democrats, or as I call the Democrats, because they are dumb in so many ways. They've redistricted for years, and now we took our shot, and it looks like we're going to pick up a lot of seats. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We want voters to have their choice. We want fair voting. We want fair elections. The Democrats have been cheating on elections for many years, and all we're doing is winning. Thank you, sir.
The Democrats have been cheating for many years. You should say decades, even a century. That's all they do is cheat. He's calling them out day after day. And is it working? You betcha. Let's head on over to Communist News Network, CNN, one of our favorite guys over there, filled with all kinds of numbers.
But I think this poll serves as a big-time reality check for Democrats, and that is, it ain't over yet, especially with the redistricting when we look ahead to the 2026 race for Congress. You would have thought that the Democrats' lead would expand on the generic congressional ballot. It didn't happen. Look, in March, Democrats were up by 6 points. Look at this now. Democrats are up by 3 points, and I want you to note the yellow lettering. No clear leader. It is within the margin of error. So despite all of the talk about Donald Trump's unpopularity, the fact is Republicans very much remain in the game when it comes to the congressional midterms, which are occurring in what, 6 or 7 months at this point?
Yes, and don't call me Shirley. So a lead of 3 points in the generic ballot test here. Does that get the job done?
No, it might not actually get the job done. And I love any reference to Airplane, I will say, and Leslie Nielsen. Look at this. Okay, take a look here. Democrats in the national House vote margin. According to my estimate, what they need for control with redistricting in terms of the national popular vote is somewhere of a win between 3 and 4 points. What's CNN's current poll with no clear leader? It's a 3-point advantage. If this were, in fact, the actual result come election day, the race for Congress, the race for the House, would be basically a toss-up. And that is why the redistricting efforts that have been happening are so important. Because before the redistricting happened, Democrats essentially just needed to win the national House popular vote in order to win control of the House of Representatives. But now, with the redistricting, their ladder, they have to climb ever higher, and a 3-point win may very well not do it. This is well within the realm of possibilities. Could be Democrats take back the House. You know, if Democrats outperform the CNN poll by a few points, they take it back. But they could underperform it as well, and that would be big-time trouble. As I said at the start here, this game is most certainly not over. Republicans very much in the race for the House of Representatives are in that game.
All right, and I was saying, the president's approval on the economy. The president is just 30%, 70% disapproval. Those are, I think, the worst numbers he has ever had. But if his numbers are so bad, then why aren't Democrats benefiting?
Yeah, that's exactly it, Johnny B. Look, we talk about,
Oh, the numbers, the polls, they just can't stop, can they? Really, Democrats and national House vote margin +3, really? They were at +6 before. +3 points now. I don't know. These numbers are kind of strange to me, but big things are happening. The Missouri Supreme Court just upheld the state's 2026 redistricting map, solidifying an Republican +1 gain and a strong 7 Republican, 1 Democrat map. Great news.
When Eldridge Gerry drew a map in Massachusetts to try to preserve the Federalists, and somebody said, boy, that district looks like a salamander, and somebody else said, oh no, that's a gerrymander. Wow. That's where the word comes from. So that's the only other time in American history that we've seen the mobilization of everything. I mean, California's involved. Democrats didn't mind when California wiped out Republican seats. They loved Virginia wiping out Republican seats. All of a sudden, the institutional tide has turned. And this is why Trump is such a historic figure.
He sure is. The huge redistricting momentum, New York and Virginia Dems have their maps blocked. Full steam ahead in the South. Republicans are redrawing maps across key states. Ohio, +2 Republican. Missouri, +1. Tennessee, +1. North Carolina, +1. Florida, +4. And Texas, +5. Now, rhinos betrayed the South Carolina. That's right. And they handed the Democrats a win in a shocking 29-17 vote.
If the U.S. House goes to a Democratic majority, it won't be because of South Carolina. That's because we are already heavily gerrymandered. We are the most gerrymandered Republican state in the country already.
Senate Republicans just blocked 2026 redistricting efforts, effectively killing any immediate chance at a full 7 Republican, 0 Democrat map. The 5 rhinos who voted no are now in notice. They're all on notice. Sean Bennett, Chip Campson, Tom Davis, Greg Embry, and Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey. We are the most gerrymandered Republican state in the country already. They clearly didn't learn from what happened in Indiana. Let's hope those guys are all gone and the future in South Carolina is rescued from the pain that they've been going through. Here's something from Scott Jennings, again, bringing common sense to the CNN snakes.
I heard you say that people are losing representation. People are losing their voice. No voter has lost their voice at all. No one's been disenfranchised. Every voter in America before these court rulings could go cast a ballot this November, and every voter in America, white, black, or otherwise, can go cast a ballot right now. The lines may be changing, but every voter still has the same amount of voting power, one vote, that they had. It's just that this Supreme Court said your race doesn't necessarily have to dictate your political identity. The fact that you're an American citizen and your franchise gives you one vote, that is your political identity. And it is incumbent upon both parties, Republicans and Democrats, to run people who speak not to just one constituency, but all American interests. To me, that's how the November election should be run.
How about that? Common sense for everyone. So let's head on over to the media. Since they don't have common sense, President Trump had to deal with somebody there.
How's that different than your ballroom?
So what happened is we have a ballroom that's under budget.
She asked him, your ballroom, what's wrong with it? It's not going the way you planned it, is it?
It's going up right here. I've doubled the size of it because we obviously need that. And we're right now on budget, under budget, and ahead of schedule. I doubled the size of it, you dumb person. Double the size. You are not a smart person.
Oh my goodness. You're a dumb person right there with the Democrats asking stupid questions. Oh man, we're never going to have another guy like him, are we? And so let's head on over to some great information from John Solomon.
We've got a big update to a story we brought you earlier. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche earlier today indicated that the Department of Justice would subpoena reporters as part of its probe into the leaks of a lot of classified materials. This has been going on almost daily now. We had even a senator leak some classified information earlier this week. The FBI this month opened a probe into Senate Democrats over the possible leaking of classified materials related to Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation hearings. That issue was the leak of an intercept from the National Security Agency, some of the deepest and most sensitive secrets we have. That intercept involved Gabbard. More recently, Trump has reportedly complained of rampant leaks related to the ongoing Iran war. You saw Senator Reid talking about some classified information even this past weekend. The acting attorney general said, quote, prosecuting leakers who share our nation's secrets with reporters, in turn, risking our national security and the lives of our soldiers, is a priority for this administration. Any witness, whether a reporter or otherwise, who has information about these criminals should not be surprised if they receive a subpoena about the illegal leaking of classified material. Close quote.
Journalists subpoenaed by the Department of Justice as part of the investigation of the Daily Leaks. Isn't that great? We were told on the Q board that some of these so-called journalists, the CIA agents, would be finally taken in for treason for what they've done to our country. Looking forward to that. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said to the media, asking about DOJ investigating the leaking of classified information, prosecuting leakers who share a nation's secrets with reporters, in turn risking our national security and the lives of our soldiers, is a priority for this administration. Any witness, whether a reporter or otherwise, who has information about these criminals should not be surprised if they receive a subpoena. Also, right here, America Pulse News said, breaking. Disgraced former Vice President Mike Pence and his top aides, Olivia Troy and Mark Short, are in serious legal trouble after being criminally implicated in the classified documents espionage case involving John Bolton. Pence is accused of being the main White House leaker during Trump's first term, using his staff to leak top secret information he thought would hurt Trump to the mainstream media, which now has them all facing potential Espionage Act violations. The fly was right all along on the head of Mike Pence. There were rats and moles deep inside President Trump's inner circle the whole time. This is more proof of the swamp that never stopped trying to destroy Trump from within. So much more information on that. And of course, Shifty Schiff is in deep trouble also. I'm going to show you that in a moment. We have some great drops from the Department of War, some great comms on the board, and more. Even Fox News seems to get in the act with some of the numbers that were handed to them that match the Q board. You don't want to miss it. First, I wanted to tell you guys about our amazing Ascent Nutrition. We've actually had a great interview released on May 5th. I hope you guys checked it out. Talking about the pine pollen superfood, the royal visit to the DC, actually connection to bees, health, and pine needles. That's right. We got into it, a lot of the local news, and even showed the Bible verse, Isaiah 60:13, the cypress, the pine, and the box tree together to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And man, just a beautiful verse. And I wanted you guys to see the intro that we had for that particular video. It's really amazing.
They imagined a mischievous device,
especially about the pine needles and about our DNA, and even so, his products. You can go to Go Ascent Nutrition in the description box below. Click on that link, folks, and he's still offering 10% off. That's right, 10% off for all the And We Know listeners on his products. His products are pretty amazing. You know, the Ascent Nutrition, they have the organic and wild harvested products. They help support the health of you, your children, your pets. We actually love their products. They have this amazing pine needle extract, the ultimate Shilajit, and the pine pollen tincture, and more. So we just hope that you guys check it out and take advantage of that 10% off using that code in the description box below.
The chairman of the House Intel Committee doesn't have declassification authority over these types of documents. They are made available to Congress under very tightly controlled rules. This has been a source of tension for years. And members of both parties have gone out of their way to assure that this material would be closely held and not weaponized. Schiff was viewed as one of the most political chairs of that committee in its history. And this is a truly chilling account, if true. Now, when I first read it, frankly, I was taken aback because it's perfectly moronic to commit such a felony with a planning conference meeting with staff. That's not usually how things are leaked in Washington, D.C. What makes this different, Will, is that this was a statement made to FBI agents. The person who made this statement was no doubt aware that lying to FBI agents is not just a crime, but a crime that was repeatedly prosecuted during prior administrations, including the Obama and Biden administrations.
Right.
So making this statement puts you at risk. That's why someone's lying here and someone's a felon.
Okay, well, let's just for a moment hypothetically take this whistleblower at their word. Let's assume for a moment that it's true, Professor. What kind of punishment follows for leaking classified information?
Well, this is a very significant punishment. You can have, in addition to having multiple counts, you can easily go 10 years in terms of a sentence, if not more, depending on the circumstances and the number of violations. Each of these leaks is an individual violation. Each of these documents would likely be charged as a violation. That type of count stacking is precisely what Mueller and others did. Remember, these are very similar to the types of claims made against Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago, that he removed material and improperly stored them. There were also allegations that he might have revealed them to third parties. But this is much more serious in one sense. Trump was accused of negligence in most of these counts. This would be a premeditated criminal act to release classified information to damage one's political opponent.
Shifty Schiff is going down. Says, you get about 10 years, maybe more, depending on the situation. And I think this guy is going to get more than that, if it hasn't already happened. Under President Trump, American military might stands unrivaled. That's from the Department of War CTO with the meme, America is unrivaled. President Trump sitting at his desk. And President Trump also said when the fake news says that the Iranian enemy is doing well militarily against us, it's virtual treason. In that it is such a false and even preposterous statement. They are aiding and abetting the enemy. All it does is give Iran false hope when none should exist. These are American cowards that are rooting against our country. Iran had 159 ships in their navy. Every single ship is now resting at the bottom of the sea. They have no navy. Their air force is gone. All technology is gone. Their leaders are no longer with us. And the country is an economic disaster. Only losers, ingrates, and fools are able to make a case against America. President Donald J. Trump. Now, Ultra MAGA Dean Erickson jumped on this one, and he says this is calling out the fake news, saying they're actually committing virtual treason. He capitalized the word treason because he wants us to focus on that word alone, which takes to a certain Q post that hits a 7-year delta to the very day that he dropped it on May 12th, folks. Boom week ahead. Treason doesn't pay well in the end. That was on the drop from May 12, 2019. And now the timestamp was 1624 military time. 1624 on the Q board. Sick people Q. I wish I could get these guys, the bad guys with you. Go get them. Q responded, we are pain, with a lot of exclamation points. And then, of course, boom week ahead. Treason doesn't pay well in the end. These people are sick. Here comes the pain. Now, one catch here. Leanne Eskew. Notice this. 140 on the Q board is referenced, in a sense, by Fox News. They actually give us the time that President Trump's leaving for China. He left for China yesterday at 1:40.
It's going to be a big day. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, by the way. So we're going to be looking at 1:40 Eastern time. So we'll be
1:40 Eastern time departure. And so, of course, those numbers are given to them. That doesn't mean that they're following the Q board. It just means the numbers were given to them from the White House. And that gets us to look at Drop 140. Remember, President Trump's heading to China with a group of 17 people. 17. Important people. Well, if you go to Drop 140 on the cue board, it says, what if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with President of the United States to eliminate the New World Order? Wow. So if they would have left at 135, or if they said we're leaving at 145, we'd never look at the drop and connect the dots. Well, it's amazing. The dots are connected. 140, the time they're leaving for China, well, it just happens to be on the cue board. Drop 140 says, what if China, Russia, and others are coordinated with the president to eliminate the New World Order? Wow. What a coincidence, huh? So the indomitable American spirit, Americans are unstoppable, says the Department of War CTO with another drop from President Trump with his face staring down the enemy. The White House also put this out. President Trump dropped a couple of things, laser-guided destruction of a military aircraft from Iran, and also bye-bye fast boats with using our drones to take out the Iranian small boats. Bing, bing, gone from the White House. Now, the White House seems to have some infiltration. That's right. We had this Citizen Journalism Foundation showing us what happened when they went undercover with a camera, and Benjamin Elliston, senior budget analyst, funding manager, the White House. And he says the following. I think it might have a cuss word too.
We have to get rid of Trump. Seriously, he's a mess.
He said we have to get rid of Trump. Seriously, he's a mess. And then he says a bad word. He's messing it up for everybody.
For everybody. Everybody. We gotta get rid of him.
Yeah. He said you got to get rid of him, Trump, honestly.
Benjamin Elliston claims that Trump is a dangerous madman and insists that no one can know that he feels this way.
He's a madman. Literally. He's invincible. Nothing can stop him. And that's dangerous.
Do people know that how you feel about the president?
No, they can't.
No.
Do people know how you feel? And he says, no, they can't know. And he starts laughing. Under surveillance with the camera, she's probably got on a button or a pen or something.
Oh, but they will.
Boy, he's going to regret that. He's been caught. He got in there. And hopefully this reaches the White House. And they will know they've got a traitor in the White House. Now, here we go. From Kash Patel to Senator Van Hollen. Remember Senator Van Hollen, the guy that flew down to El Salvador and had some alcohol with a rapist, convicted gangbanger? You remember that? Well, he's questioning the FBI and, they're drinking and, are you guys drinking, during the job and all this stuff? And like, are you serious? This guy's an idiot.
Multiple reports, including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. You have publicly denied those allegations and filed a defamation lawsuit. So today, as you testify before Congress, is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
So there have been no occasions during your tenure when FBI personnel were unable to promptly reach you?
Absolutely not. You can ask my entire workforce. They hear from me at every single hour of the day, as do these great gentlemen here, as do the men and women of the interagency and state and local law enforcement and the White House.
And so there have been no occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you. Is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike your baseless reports, the only person that was...
So now I want to show you the reaction as Kash Patel says this to him.
The only person that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you. The only person that ran up a $7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you. So the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime during the day is you.
These Democrats, they're evil. And when they get called out, what do? They start talking over the witness because they realize they're being exposed. And he probably didn't see that coming, didn't realize he was going to be exposed, and for everyone to remember how evil he is, how much he hates our country and loves anyone that comes in illegally, especially if they are criminals who have hurt fellow Americans. It continued. More attacks from this Murray character, and Kash Patel wasn't having it.
Stick to podcasting. Leave Law and Order to people who really do care about justice and appearances. That is really critical, and it's what I am really deeply concerned about, and so are many people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Can I respond? This is what real leadership looks like at the FBI. Every one of you was given it. This is what's happened under my tenure at the FBI and the Trump administration. 20-point drop in the homicide rate. 45,000 violent offenders arrested last year, twice as many as 2024. 2,450 criminal gangs disrupted. That's a 322% increase from 2024. 6,900 child victims have been located since I've been in the seat. That's a 144% increase. 2,900 child predators and human traffickers arrested. That's a 70% increase. And we've arrested 8 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world in 14 months. That's twice as many in the 4 years combined. That is what the men and women of the FBI are doing, well-resourced. Everyone should take a look at this. If people want to continue the baseless, fraudulent, false personal attacks at me, that's great. Keep the target on me, as I've always said, but the mission has never been better.
Eye of the Tiger. That was brilliant. You know, also brilliant is this LA mayor race. This Pratt, he is doing wonderful. Dropped another AI ad for all to see. We're going to show you that in a moment. And also, we got some amazing Q drops we're going to go through with you. First, I thought it would be important, again, to visit Mike with Hunter's Blend Coffee to just help us out for the day with the Great Awakening.
Well, what if it's not ready, aim, fire, but ready, fire, aim? Now, aerial gunners in World War II didn't have the advanced technology that we do today, and they had to start shooting before they could fine-tune their aim. If they would have waited until everything was completely lined up to where they knew they had their enemy perfectly in their sights, they would have been blown out of the sky. They didn't have that much time. Now, these guys weren't just spraying and praying. I mean, they were shooting in the general direction of the other aircraft, but they had tracers going out, and they could follow the tracers and get on target. Now, they weren't just shooting where the enemy currently was. They had to lead the target. But they could do all of that with using those tracers. And in life, it's a lot the same. If you're like me, you probably would like for just one more sign from God. Like when you feel a sense you're supposed to move in a direction, make a change, it can be very fearful. It can be like Peter getting out of the boat. And so we ask, can you just give me one more sign? And the truth is, for some reason, God wants to partner with us, to trust Him. He's not playing games. When He knows that when our desire is to follow Him, He's the good shepherd. He's not going to play tricks. But He does want to partner with us. He told Abraham to leave his people. That was it. Leave and go, and I'll show you. That was it. So Abraham took a step and then another step, and then God guided him along the way. And a lot of times, I think that's where He takes us. That's how it's hard to steer a parked car, as they say. So I just want to encourage you, if you are in a place where you feel like God is guiding you, and you trust that He is leading you, but it can be kind of scary. You're not just spraying and praying. You're not just getting up in the morning and having a wild idea and going off and doing it. You kind of have a sense you're supposed to do something. Let's take that step together and say, okay, God, I'm going to take this step, and I trust that you're going to lead me. He's the good shepherd, and He will direct your path. Welcome to the Great Awakening.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Mike. He's just good at bringing that to us, the truth. And they have Hunter's Blend Coffee in the description box below. You can get their locally roasted specialty coffee for all freedom-loving Americans. They buy only the top 6% of specialty coffee beans. They roast them with precision in small batches, and they ship locally roasted coffee fresh to your door. They support organizations and causes that are near and dear to the hearts of many freedom-loving Americans, such as pro-life, youth shooting sports, veterans, hunting and conservation, patriot, and anti-sex trafficking. Again, that's Hunter's Blend Coffee. In the description box below, folks. Support them today.
I'm Karen Bass, and I'm running on my accomplishments.
Los Angeles on fire. Mayor nowhere to be found.
We were so prepared for wildfires. I didn't even have to be in the country when the town burned. I've addressed the homeless problem. Now, most of them won't stab you as long as you don't make eye contact. Our climate change policy is so strong, we've brought down energy use in the Palisades by 99%. Almost none of the needles in children's playgrounds have AIDS on them. If you like the last 4 years, you're going to love the next 4. Vote Bass.
Oh, ends with a gunshot. And if you guys are listening, they have Bass walking through, they call it Holywood and not Hollywood. And there's fires burning all over the place. And they're just having fun and drinking champagne and having a blast and walking through the homeless encampments and just smiling, saying, don't you guys love what we did for you? We're going to do it again. And then there's got needles inside of a kid's playground with a girl crying with all the homeless there. And she's like, don't worry. There's not many bad things going on in the playgrounds there. And, really cool because we had Pratt actually go on a local radio station and he brought up what happened when he went on his first debate. First one he's ever been on in his life. And he told that to Karen Bass. Listen to him to explain that.
So what was it like when you got there? Did you have to sit in a green room before you guys went on air in the studio together?
So they said it was the best room, but they put me in the basement, which it was, so that was funny. I was in the basement, but it was a beautiful basement. And when I got to come up from the basement, I was in a hallway and she had her amazing LAPD, security team all securing the hallway. And I could hear her voice and it was like out of a scary movie. So I'm thinking this is surreal because, I've never been near a real life monster,
right?
This is out of a scary movie. And so we go out there and we stand next to each other. We set up and they go, okay, we'll be here for 5 minutes. I'm like, 5 minutes? They're counting down like 4 minutes. And she looks over at me and she goes, you've done this before. And I go, a debate? And I was like, yeah. I was like, no, it's my first one. She's like, oh, your first one like this? I'm like, no, my first debate ever. She's like, you didn't do them at the university? I was like, no, I didn't do debates at the university. She's like, oh, wow. And I'm thinking to myself, lady, I'm going to eat you alive right now. And then I saw that she was looking at my notepad.
Yeah.
And so to throw her off, I just start writing my kids' names and my wife's name, my parents' name, just to confuse her if she's trying to cheat off my notepad. But
outstanding. Man, this guy's a character. He's something else. And, I know Los Angeles is one city out of the, the whole United States, and that's what we report from. But it's been amazing to watch him. He even got support from the Democrat on the 5 who said he's doing a great job. And I was pretty shocked by that. I wanted to bring this in real quick, too, just to show you from Kimmler Hour. All while the Trump, it was actually meeting with Xi, the one he freed from the CCP, the U.S. deep state, right? Xi Jinping was tied to the deep state, right? They owned him, and it seems like those puppet strings have been cut. He's heading to China, right, President Trump? And guess what information has been flying out? Well, the disgraced California Democrat mayor admitted to being a Chinese spy. Well, she donated thousands of dollars to Congresswoman Judy Chu, a Democrat. Would you look at that? It just gets worse and worse for them, doesn't it? The Democrats love sewage. President Trump put that out with Obama, Pelosi, and Biden just swimming in the sewage. Yep, they're cleaning it up. And President Trump also dropped this, Trump 2028. And there it is, that wonderful view of that beautiful, crystal clear blue water of the reflecting pool. And man, some big changes are going to be happening there, right? So he put this out. The failing New York Times, which is one of the worst newspapers anywhere in the world and is losing subscribers on an hourly basis, is now at it again, just like they covered my landslide 24 presidential election victory inaccurately and without shame, constantly making major mistakes and incorrect predictions at every path along the way. They are now trying to justify Obama and Biden's expensively botched attempt at fixing the long broken, unsightly, and unsanitary reflecting pool that now sits majestically between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. They squandered at least $55 million haplessly trying with no chance of success to get the reflecting pool to work. Instead, they made it worse, keeping it closed for years and ending up with a leaking, smelling ode to both of their failed administrations. It was an embarrassment to Washington, D.C. and to our country itself. Despite the vast sums of money spent, they never got the pool to work, and cosmetically, it was a total mess for all to see. Now, along comes Trump, who was asked by many patriots if I could fix it. The answer is a resounding yes, and for a tiny fraction of the cost. I worked with our now strong Department of Interior and explained to them what we should view this as: a highly sophisticated swimming pool, not the leaking, dilapidated facade, joints and all of a building. Instead of taking 4 years to build at a cost, granted pavers and all, $400 million, we could construct a far superior reflecting pool for $5 or $6 million and could complete the project in 2 weeks rather than 4 years. What a difference in time and money for a far superior end result. This is not just a paint job like low-life reporter David Farenthold of the New York Times so inaccurately and maliciously stated. It is a deeply complicated work of smart and beautiful construction. It won't leak, it will shine and be the pride of Washington, D.C. for decades to come. I saved more than $390 million in 4 years of no mess and was, of course, given no credit by the biased New York Times. Also, I didn't give out the contract, Interior did, to a contractor I did not know and have never used before. You know, how much evidence of treason does the Justice Department need before making some arrests? Do better, DOJ. And she tagged, Shelley2021 tagged the Todd Blanche. President Trump reposted this and said they are working hard. Pepe Deluxe said, tell me there are bigly arrests coming without saying there are bigly arrests coming. And of course, those that are thinking about President Trump and his heading out to China, and you might be worried about it. Well, the White House posted pictures of Trump getting ready to head out to China, right? They said, back on the world stage, President Donald J. Trump heads to China, marking the first state visit by U.S. president since his 2017 trip. Well, Ultra Magazine was on this. The White House's post happened to be dropped at 5:01 p.m. 501, Q501 has all of this forgotten country, Sky Fortress engaged. With President Trump safe aboard Air Force One, this could be the marker we've all been hoping for. And tell you what, this is a video that somebody posted, Dr. Russell McGregor posted for all to see. This will be an historic meeting. You can look at the Air Force One as it receives escorts of our military. I believe that's our military aircraft surrounding Air Force One. And so pretty amazing. He's got protection, and it's going to be good for all of us. So the massive ICE fraud bust, 10,000 foreign students caught in a nationwide OPT scam.
Today we are announcing that we have identified over 10,000 foreign students who claim to be working for highly suspect employers. And that's just among the top 25 OPT employers. This is only the tip of the iceberg. Over the past year, we've dramatically expanded our oversight of OPT and can report that we've found fraud nationwide. HSI agents have visited problematic OPT employer work sites in Virginia, Texas, Georgia, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Florida. Many of these employers include NGOs engaged in suspicious activity. We've discovered empty buildings and locked doors at addresses where hundreds of foreign students are allegedly employed. In many cases, multiple OPT employers claim to operate from the same address, but none actually lease the facility. We found small residential addresses listed as work sites for hundreds of foreign students yet no employees were present. When someone does answer the door, their statements are inconsistent, or they claim no knowledge of the business. We're also seeing financial red flags. Many alleged employers display clear fraud indicators, including tax liens, civil lawsuits, collections, and breaches of contract. And we are seeing suspicious financial transactions moving cash across multiple countries. We've discovered that numerous businesses fail to maintain basic employment records for the foreign students, raising serious tax reporting concerns. Some employers claim to have offshore human resources and payroll personnel. And finally, we're finding what we call phantom employees. We've identified foreign students who obtained work authorization documents through OPT, but never showed up for work at the sites they claimed. While we can't share details of ongoing investigations, I can assure you that more information is forthcoming and that we are taking this fraud very seriously. With that,
how about that? All these students, all the lies, all the deception out there for all to see. And those that are not criminals, the J6ers, well, look what's going on with them. You guys probably seen this.
And some more breaking news, this time about the January 6th rioters. The Supreme Court has just ruled. Let's get to Shannon Breen. What did they say?
So what they have said is that one of the statutes the Justice Department used to charge hundreds of different January 6 defendants is no good. And that includes President Donald Trump, because he has actually had 2 of these counts against him in the Jack Smith D.C. case against him, that federal criminal case that has been on hold here. So what essentially they say is this statute, which was passed in the wake of Enron, they say it doesn't fit here. He says, given that the subsection was enacted to address the Enron disaster, not some other far-flung set of dangers like what happened just right over here at the Capitol, it is unlikely that Congress responded with such an unfocused and grossly incommensurate patch in English that essentially means that all of these people who were charged under this particular obstruction statute for January 6th, that is no good. The dissent, this is a very interesting vote makeup, because the dissent is actually written by Justice Barrett, and she is joined by Justices Sotomayor and Kagan. She says that Congress did intend for this kind of conduct to be brought under this particular obstruction charge. She thinks the majority got it wrong. But what it means is a big headache for the DOJ and good news for hundreds of January 6 defendants charged under this statute, again, including.
So Dr. James Joyce said this: great news for the J6ers, great news for America. They're about to have their charges dropped. It took about a year for Pam Bondi to straighten out the DOJ and find, analyze, and organize all of the unconstitutional actions the DOJ took during the Joe Mask years. The DOJ has been restructured and is possibly for the first time ever starting to kick on all cylinders. As the next few weeks pass, we'll see more and more examples of these types of government gone wild injustices from previous administrations. No plural, being righted. Welcome to the restoration of the Republic. And so Matt Von Swall said something that Brian Cates responded to. Matt has been putting out some good information for all of us, but he said this: I hate to say it, but it does make you wonder what Pam Bondi has been doing the entire time. So there are more folks out there going against Pam Bondi for some strange reason. They just don't understand the amount of information that we've been trying to pass to everybody. Setting it up for Todd Blanche. That's what she did. I mean, if you think she was keeping the DOJ paralyzed for a year, says Brian Cates, and Blanche unfroze all this and got this all done with the clock starting once Bondi left, you really don't know how this works. You haven't seen a real transfer of executive branch power in your lifetimes until the last year. This wasn't a real DOJ. This was an organized crime. Bondi was sent in to invade it, remove the government gangsters embedded in it, and completely restructure it and take it over and get it ready for all the stuff you've watched over the past 5 weeks. She did her job. You realize this when you see what her next job is. Now, that's right. Wake up. Tennessee deportations at their best. Homeland. Ooh, I love it when they put these videos together and just pumps us up. Man, I get so excited. Sean Davis released this. Notice has just been given to Democrats in the Tennessee House. All members of the Democrat caucus are being removed from all standing committees and subcommittees as a result of their behavior in the state house during the redistricting debates last week, which included setting fires inside the Capitol and attacking law enforcement. In the state of Tennessee, political terrorism will not be tolerated. National Republicans take note that this is how you exercise power. That's from Cameron Sexton right there. The letter, you see it on your screen. Tennessee Speaker of the House. Dear Leader Camper, due to actions taken by members of the Democrat caucus during the second extraordinary session of the 114th General Assembly aimed at disrupting the democratic and legislative processes and creating disorder on the House floor, including but not limited to, and listed them all. The Democrat caucus will receive individual letters removing them from all standing committees. Boy, that's a letter. Now let's get into more of the media asking President Trump some questions.
The president promised to bring inflation down. It's now at its highest level in 3 years. Are your policies not working? What's happening?
Are your policies not working? Inflation's not. Oh my goodness, 3 years. What do you think you're doing?
Incredibly, if you go back to just before the war, for the last 3 months, inflation was at 1.7%. Now, we had a choice. Let these lunatics have a nuclear weapon. If you want to do that, then you're a stupid person, and you happen to be. I mean, I know you very well. Anybody that wants them to have a nuclear weapon is a stupid person. So we said we're going to take the greatest stock market in history, and we're going to go down a little bit. And actually, that turned out to be incorrect because our stock market is now at the highest point in history, which frankly surprised a lot of people. It's a very simple message. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't have a nuclear weapon, and that's 100%. Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone.
So, they keep asking about inflation. Oh my goodness, President Trump, your stuff's not working. None of the things you do work. They're sent in, folks, the mainstream media, these characters from their puppet handlers. Do all you can to disrupt the country. Do all you can to ruin President Trump. Ask him some gotcha questions. And it never works. But it works for them because they go out there and they continue to lie to the people. Here's another one.
Did you say earlier that the only thing that matters to you when it comes to Iran is a nuclear weapon? You're not considering the financial impact of this war on Americans?
Oh my goodness, the financial impact. You see what they're doing, folks? They have to come up with something. Anything to try to destroy the minds of the people who have anything against President Trump or Trump derangement syndrome. Yes, there's one. We've got another one. It's about our pocketbooks. It's about inflation. Oh, he's spending too much money on the war. They just can't stop. It's got to always be negative, huh? These mainstream media freaks.
The most important thing by far, including whether our stock market, which by the way is at an all-time high, but including whether or not our stock market goes up or down a little bit, the most important thing by far is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
What about the pressure on Americans and prices right now?
Every American understands.
Americans, how they're feeling about
every American. Are you listening to me? Every American understands, and they just had a poll, like 85%, which is surprising. It's only that. They understand that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If Iran has a nuclear weapon, the whole world would be in trouble because they happen to be crazy. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Now, if the stock market goes up or down a little bit, the American people understand it. When it's over, you're going to have a massive drop in the price of oil, which a lot of people thought would be higher. And I mean, it was $100, it was $99 yesterday, which is low, which is relatively low. When this war is over, oil is going to drop, the stock market's going to go through the roof, and truly, I think we're in the golden age right now. You're going to see a golden age like we've never seen before.
You're going to see a golden age like you've never seen before. Joe Lang showing us a picture of the new $100 bill coming out. There's Trump with his signature on there. Oh, man, it's going to be so good. There's a pretty big reveal in Trump's picture of the coming new federal victory note. Don't miss this. This note is not legal tender for any debts, public or private. Do you understand how big a deal that is? There's a huge difference between real honest money and legal tender. Honest money is defined as currency with intrinsic value, such as gold or silver specie. It maintains purchasing power and is chosen by the free market rather than government decree. Legal tender is any currency, including fiat money like paper bills and coins, that a government declares valid for the payment of debts, forcing creditors to accept it even if they prefer other forms of payment. When the Federal Reserve note was declared by the federal government to be legal tender and the government began accepting it as payment for debt, we saw a reverse Gresham's law effect. The government effectively killed competition with the Federal Reserve note by forcing creditors to take it as payment instead of honest money. Trump is getting ready to reverse all that, and he's going to do it in a controlled demolition in order to prevent banking collapse and financial chaos. He's going to do it and, create the new gold-backed federal victory note and let it compete with the Federal Reserve note backed by nothing. Without the government's backing and forced acceptance in the financial system, the Federal Reserve note will wither on the vine. People are going to dump them like crazy in exchange for the new Federal Reserve or Federal Victory note, which will have much more purchasing power. I think that's why Trump emphasized that the new note won't be legal tender. It won't be government forced. The people will get to decide. We all know that gold-backed currency is more valuable than fiat currency. Victory is secured. Power back to the people. And we get into this every single week just about with Dr. Kirk Elliott, where we talk about the market and what's been going on with the silver going up and so much more. We hope you guys didn't miss it. We dropped it Saturday. Dr. Kirk Elliott did a great job bringing information to tell us once again why it's important to bring our fiat currency IRAs over to precious metals and watch that puppy skyrocket. I hope you guys check it out. amweknow.com/gold in the description box below. Now, here's a doozy. 51st state, Venezuela?
And when I was talking to the president this morning, it was just before the Oval Office event, he kind of surprised me a little bit because he said, John, I just want to tell you, I'm very serious about this. So you can talk about this. I'm serious about beginning a process to make Venezuela the 51st state. Now, there's a rich history in this nation of taking territories and absorbing them into the United States. Puerto Rico is one that people talk about. But this would be the first time, to my knowledge, that a sovereign country was ever invited to join the United States of America. How would that work?
Well, John, I won't get ahead of what the president was comfortable sharing with you as far as those plans go. But look, this is a president who is famous for never accepting the status quo. He is always considering a host of options to improve our country. And of course, Venezuela, now led by President Delcy Rodriguez, is working incredibly cooperatively with the United States. So I won't get ahead of any plans that the president may have to that effect. But look, this has been a tremendous success. The United States revitalizing our relationship with Venezuela and in turn improving the economic situation of both countries and our people.
Way to go, Anna Kelly, White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary. Great answer. People worked hard to get her to that point where she's able to answer questions like that with such enthusiasm, and really proud of that team, what they're doing there in the White House. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that for the first time ever, the American people will have the right to see the data on chemicals in food.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS secretary. Today, we're taking action to strengthen the safety of the American food supply. Families deserve safe food. At HHS, we set that standard and we enforce it. The FDA will, for the first time, continuously review chemicals already in our food, replacing a decades-old system with continuous oversight for the first time. We will evaluate the science on an ongoing basis. We'll identify the risks earlier and will act when necessary to protect the public health. We'll make our findings public. The American people have a right to see the data and understand the decisions and hold us accountable. We are also reevaluating two widely used food chemicals, BHT and ADA. BHT preserves fats and oils and appears in cereals, frozen foods, and packaged snacks. ADA is used in flour processing and appears in bread products and food contact materials. These substances are widely used, but that does not establish safety. We are taking a fresh look at that question. We're requesting data from researchers, industry, and the public through a formal request for information posting. If you have evidence on how these chemicals are used or how they affect human health, submit it through the Federal Register at regulations.gov. We will review the evidence and act based upon the science.
Amazing. I was looking at his tie. Do you guys notice? It looks like he has a poisonous snake on his tie, almost like he's given a message to tell you that he's talking about poison, and he wants you to catch that message. He's delivering to let you know that there's a snake in the system, and it's on his tie, and he wants folks to know. I don't think it's subliminally a message for all of that. Another snake, the CDC liar who said there is no link between vaccines and autism, has been arrested. Yeah, justice finally here. After 14 years on the run, Paul Thorson, the researcher behind the CDC's cornerstone no autism link study, has been extradited from Germany and is now in U.S. custody. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And we thought nothing's happening. Well, we've covered an awful lot of ground today. It certainly has been one day after another, just filled with so much information. It's been almost difficult to keep up with it all. We're doing the best we can, and you guys, through prayer and more, have definitely contributed and helped us out, and we sincerely appreciate that. And I just want to go back to this and remind you that the comms from President Trump and many others wanted us to know that there's a boom week ahead. Treason doesn't pay well in the end. Sick people, we hope they get them. They are getting them. And there's pain for all of them. These people are sick. Here comes the pain.
But nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you again. We're so grateful, so thankful for your grace and your mercy on our life. We are overwhelmed by information day in and day out from an administration that just goes nonstop. The leader on the forefront, giving orders and guidance to those below to ensure that they're doing their duty. They've been called by our Heavenly Father to step forward and ensure that our nation is taken care of in a biblical fashion. We sense it. We understand it even more so as we watch this playing out before our very eyes. And we ask for their continued protection over President Trump and his team as they travel abroad into different territory. And we certainly hope that all of this has been mapped out for many years, and that we can see a finale ending up here of cutting out the New World Order and allowing the nations to get their countries back in order and in sovereign stance, so they can no longer belong to these 13 bloodline families that have been destroying this earth for so long, and also tearing up our children. And you've heard the cries of the people. You've heard the cries of the children. And I firmly believe that you have answered the prayers and the cries of the people by bringing justice finally to those in an imperfect way on an imperfect earth. And may you receive all the praise, honor, and glory that's due you for all of this. We certainly need you. We need your help with our voice and the things that we say to our neighbors and more, and help in the way that we deliver information to our family. We bring this before you. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior, amen and amen. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. I'm sure, going to have a lot coming out of China the remainder of this week. For now, this is LT. Semper Fi with them we know. Signing out.
Earlier, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche earlier today indicated that the Department of Justice would subpoena reporters as part of its probe into the leaks of a lot of classified materials. This has been going on almost daily now. We had even a senator leak some classified information earlier this week.
The only person that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a $7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you.
This
so the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime